And welcome to Warriors Walk-Off here on HBC TV 25. I'm Justin Barrientos. Thank you for joining us. We'll start talking softball today with head coach Greg Jones, and congratulations on a good weekend of softball for you. As we said, the weather is nice. You're finally getting games in. I think we're maybe done with the snow, hopefully. Maybe I don't jinx that by saying that. But let's talk about first Saturday and their games against Minot. Kind of an overall view of how things went against Minot.
Well, it was a good weekend all the way around offensively for us. We scored a lot of runs, really, both days. But starting with Minot, we kind of went in with the attitude or the idea as a coaching staff that not necessarily that we had to out-hit them, but we felt like we should be able to produce some offense. And started right away, game one, led off with a base hit and from Katie, and then Mariah hits a double off the wall, and we scored 3 right away just to get it going. And you know, their pitching numbers weren't great, and so we felt like we could do some things offensively, and we were able to do that. But Joe threw a dandy in game 2, so we got the offense and we got the pitching there to throw a shutout. So overall, just a good day for us.
All right. In the wrap-up, it said that 16 of your 19 runs over those 2 games came from the 4th inning on. So you got the early in the first game, and then maybe in the second game that came a little bit later. Was there any concern any time along the way that, oh, maybe we need to get a couple more runs on the board?
Yeah, you know, I think sometimes we stall out that first time through, but then by the second time through, we usually seem to get it going a little bit and cranked up a little bit more. And it's part of the nature of getting comfortable in the box and seeing pitching and what they're going to have. You know, part of that trip, quite honestly, is the trip itself. Sometimes their best defense is the 11-hour bus ride, and you know, kind of getting your legs underneath you and you know, that type of thing, and just the mental side of it. We played on turf outdoors, which was nice. But even that, our footing, it was a real slick turf, and so we had a couple of hitters literally fall down after they swung, and I just think just the adjustment period throughout, I think, led to a lot of that.
So are there any things that you do to combat the long road trip? Any, you know, give your players a little rest, or what do you do on that?
Not much. We tried to leave a little earlier so we could get there a little bit earlier. You know, my big thing was how long from time off the bus till game time, and you know, we were shooting to try to get there by dinner time, and we were able to do that. So then from the point we got there until game time the next day was as normal as possible.
All right, before we leave the Minot games, I got to talk about Lainey Van Zyl. Unfortunately, she had her hit streak snapped during the weekend, but besides that, she's really been on a tear. She now leads the team in RBI, in batting average, and now has taken over the lead in home runs again. Her and Riley Stout go back and forth, 10 home runs. Talk about what she's done this season.
Oh, Lainey had a really great day Saturday, but she's been very solid, and what Lainey has been so good at this year is her consistency. She's been so consistent in that 3 spot for us. It's not one of those things that you anticipate that she'll get a hit every time, but you just know she's going to give you a good at-bat every time up. And she and Riley both hit a home run that day, and the wind was blowing really hard, more across the field than in. But to get a ball through that wind and not have it knocked down, both of them they were both really hit to the same exact spot. Riley pulled hers, Lainey went the other way, but both about 8 feet high on a rope, and just went straight out of the park. And so you know, Lainey does a good job looking to go the other way and staying back on the ball, and I think it allows her to see the ball a little bit longer. She just has a really good approach right now.
All right, let's move on then to Sunday and University of Mary. Overall, again, how did you play against Mary?
I thought very well. I thought the highlight of the Mary day was the way we pitched. We threw back-to-back shutouts. We've now thrown 3 straight in a row. We made a little bit of a change in that game. We went to Joe in game 1 and McKenna in game 2, and they both threw the ball very, very well. And again, they throw so opposite of one another. One is high and hard, and the other one is you know, spinning and down and in, so we can throw the ball in 2 different directions, and it really had them off balance all day long. But I thought the rhythm and the tempo of those games from the pitching mound was so good all day. I thought we played at the pace and the tempo we really want to get playing in. And then we made some plays defensively. We got some hits early in both those games. We got out to early leads both games, scored in the first inning of both games, which we haven't done a lot of this year, just as we just spoke about. And it was nice to kind of be able to sit back then and let your pitching and defense work.
All right, I want to bring up one name that we maybe don't talk about a whole lot, but she comes up every once in a while in these wrap-ups, and that's Ann Smolensky. She scored the last couple of runs of the game. Tell what her contribution has been to the team this year.
It's really been interesting at third base because we're going with two freshmen, and I wish I could say there was a great rhyme and reason for why and how we're playing them over there, but we're really just kind of riding the hot hand. It's more of a gut feel than anything else, and the other thing I've been trying to do with Jen and Ann both is give them as many back-to-back games that are just every other game, so that to let them get in a flow a little bit. Ann has really done a nice job for us offensively. Again, it's at times you feel like, okay, maybe we're a little too left-handed, and Jen gives us a right-handed version, but Ann has really looked good offensively. She's got, again, a great approach to what she's trying to do. And her defense has steadily gotten better and better as the year's gone on. And we called on her late to pinch hit against Minot, because she hadn't started. We've been going with Jen, and I wanted the whole purpose was let's get her some at bats because we know we want to go to her tomorrow and kind of work her at bats in that way. And then by the end of that Mary game, it really had paid off for us.
All right, let's talk about this week because these games should all get in. Wednesday you play at Concordia, and then Saturday and Sunday you have doubleheaders at home. Tell us what you need to do this week to continue what you've been doing all season long.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is trying to stay focused one at a time here for us because you know, it's only 1 week now, and it's the first time we're probably going to play all 6 in a week and not get caught up in the long bus ride that was, the nice weather, this being the end of the regular season. There's a lot of stuff to look at and get caught up in. We've really got to go out and play Wednesday and attack Wednesday for Wednesday. It's not a trap game, you know, from that standpoint, from who it is, because Concordia is obviously a very good softball team. But just that idea of I don't want to get caught looking ahead to the end or the conference tournament or final exams, but just really get focused on Wednesday. But we know what's out in front of us. If we run the table, we'll win the conference championship. It's not something we spend a lot of time talking about, and it's not something we'll spend any time talking about this week. But we do know what we need to do to accomplish that, and that starts by winning on Wednesday.
And I know you probably don't want me to say this, but polls came out #1 in the Central Region. I know you probably just want to forget about that, but that's got to be a good feeling to you to think that maybe down the road you'll get some home playoff games.
Yeah, again, it's kind of like where we stand in the conference, and we don't want to talk about winning a conference championship. We just want to play the games we're in, but the regional rankings are really the same. I would rather be one and control it than be in the middle hoping you can climb, knowing that you're going to need help. At least we control our own destiny with it. There's pressure either way. The reality is no matter if we were 1 or 8, we've got to win softball games to get in. The hope is we can continue to win and play to the level of what we have been playing that has earned our way to that spot. It's no different. We told the team yesterday before the games, the game won't give you what you want, it'll give you what you earn. So we've got to go out and earn our victories Wednesday and on through the weekend, and if we can continue to do that, we'll find ourselves at the end of the year on top of the region rankings and on top of the conference standings.
All right, we need to take a break here on Warriors Walk Off. When we come back, Jordan Clement will join us right after this.
With our partnership with HBC, we were able to now be a smart gigabit community with US Ignite and the National Science Foundation. All their other partners are large metropolitan urban areas, Austin, Texas, San Francisco, Washington, D.C. And because of the broadband connectivity provided by HBC, we are a community lead for this initiative where we're going to be able to bring next-gen technology and stay competitive in the 21st century economy.
Providing opportunities for residential and business customers, HBC is leadership in your community. Paying your HBC bill has never been so easy. HBC's new online bill and pay system, SmartHub, allows you to receive electronic bills and make online check or credit card payments with ease. HBC SmartHub can be accessed on the computer or through your mobile devices with the app. Manage your payments, communicate with HBC customer care, and receive messages about your account with a touch of a button. HBC SmartHub. Start today at hbci.com/SmartHub.
And welcome back to Warriors Walk-Off here on TV 25. Time now for the player perspective, and Jordan Clement joins us. Thank you for being here this year.
Thank you for having me.
Sophomore pitcher for Winona State, and obviously great success last year, 20 wins last year, 15 wins already this season. From your perspective, how have you been pitching this year?
I think pretty well since we've been winning. It's just been good so far this year.
All right. One of the things that I saw in an interview that you did, your kind of mindset in the circle is to pitch the batter like they're the best hitter on the team. So how do you go about doing that?
I think that I just take the same approach to every at-bat and just go one pitch at a time and pitch them as if they were the best hitter every single time, because you never know what 1 through 9 can do in this league. So.
And where did that mentality come from? Where did you start to think about pitching that way?
I think just from always learning to take it really one pitch at a time and just give it your best every pitch and hit your location and spin it the best you can every pitch.
It kind of sounds like the same type of a philosophy that you have all throughout the team. Is that maybe a conscious thing to get players that are thinking on the same wavelength as you?
Yeah, I think it's something we preach from the beginning, no matter whether it be in a pitching workout or in a team meeting or after a game or before a game. The idea that not to get too far ahead, not to get too far behind, always play the game going forward, maintain the same emotional level all the time. And again, I think ultimately the program over the course of time, the success has come from consistency. Well, if we're going to be consistent, our effort and our focus needs to be consistent. And so we have tried to preach that really for a lot of years now with all of our kids, position players, hitters, pitchers, etc.
All right, now I know that stats aren't a big thing that anybody really thinks about, although our viewers like to hear about it. You're leading the team and the conference in strikeouts right now. So without giving anything away, do you have a strikeout pitch? Do you have a go-to that you like to close out a batter with?
I think I used to always go to my rise ball for that, but this year I think we've been able to mix in a lot of pitches for strikeouts, so I think that's really helped me grow as a pitcher, is to be able to use different ones.
Now, I know last year as a freshman you came in here and we talked about your pitching arsenal. You had 4 pitches, you were working on another one. Have you added anything to it, or did you just spend this offseason kind of perfecting what you already had?
I think I just spent the offseason perfecting the 4 pitches that we talked about last time, obviously, and I think that I've really gotten control over them compared to last year, so that's really helped.
All right. Let's talk a little bit about your background. Obviously, you come from La Crosse, Logan High School, so you kind of have a lot of local following, maybe. Does that, in your mind, make it a little bit easier to pitch in college because you have some fans that are going to be coming out to support you?
I don't know if it necessarily makes it easier, but it's definitely nice to be close to home and have that support at all the home games and the support just around the city of Winona and La Crosse. So.
Now, I imagine the spotlight has kind of always been on you because you're kind of a dominant pitcher in high school, but I've noticed that there's a little bit more media attention from your local newspapers and TV stations and doing stories on you. How do you kind of handle that going throughout the season?
I don't really think about it too much, honestly. Coach just always tells me like the day before, hey, they're coming to talk to you tomorrow, and I'm like, okay, and just kind of go with it. I don't really think about it too much.
All right. Now, I asked Coach Jones this question after we had already talked to McKenna Larson, but McKenna, #1 pitcher, you're the #2 pitcher. So do you kind of have maybe a one-up mentality? Do you see what McKenna does and then you think, oh, I'm going to maybe do a little bit better than that?
I don't know if I really think about it like that, but I definitely watch how she does and the approach she takes to the hitters in the first game, and I try to go off of that and do what I do in the second game.
All right. And how do you think other teams kind of approach you knowing that you have that great 1-2 punch in your pitching?
Yeah, that's a fair question. I always wonder that, and I thought that the other day, this weekend, really in both games, because we went in opposite directions. McKenna went 1, and then Joe went 2, and then the next day Joe went 1 and McKenna went 2. And I was just wondering what their coach is thinking, like, how do you pick them, or why do you get both of them, or whatever the case may be. But they work so well off each other as co-#1s. I don't think it matters to the opposition, which they're going to see, because they're both able to throw and be in such control all the time.
All right, last question here. I have to ask about your no-hitters, because you had 10 in high school, you had 3 last season, 1 this year. Are you aware that it's going on? And if you are, do you know maybe ahead of time that you have your best stuff going into a game?
I don't think I'm always really aware of it. I kind of know towards the end if I haven't given up a hit or I'm feeling good that day, but we all agree that we don't talk about it and we don't say anything about it till it's done. But I don't think I'm really thinking about it until maybe the last inning, and I know got to get these 3 outs and we have it. But other than that, I don't think about it too much. I just kind of work to get the outs and stay doing what I'm doing in the game.
All right. Well, thank you for coming on the show, and good luck the rest of the season.
Thank you for having me.
All right. We're going to take a break here on Warriors Walk Off. We'll switch to baseball right after this.
Elevate your TV experience with HBC. Record up to 6 programs simultaneously. Wireless set-top boxes, 350 hours of storage, in-home streaming, Alexa, Netflix, and more. Call 888-474-9995 to learn more or visit hbci.com.
NASCAR racing is about a whole lot more than just cars going around a track. It's about people who drive, people who engineer, people who plan, people who know how to put it all together. Meet the people who make the cars go round every week on Raceline. Watch Raceline here every week.
And welcome back to Warriors Walk Off here on TV 25. Time now to switch to baseball, and Ben Johnson, who is the pitching coach, graduate assistant coach at Winona State, joins us today. Welcome on the show.
Thank you for having me.
And for Kyle Polk today. Let's find out a little bit about you before we go and talk about Warrior baseball. But your background in baseball was kind of here in Winona. You're no stranger to the area.
Yep. So I played at St. Mary's for 4 years. Graduated in 2016. So I was a pitcher there for 4 years, and then after that, I coached back at Osseo, where I'm from. Been coaching Legion now for 3 years there. So now kind of transitioning into the college coaching has been a little bit of adjustment right away, but starting to get very comfortable with it.
So what brought you back to Winona? How did you get in the ear of Coach Polk?
Yeah, I actually found out from my coach at St. Mary's, Coach Winnicky. He was in contact with Coach Polk and Coach Riley about the position being opened. And then Coach Riley had reached out to me, kind of had a few conversations back and forth, met with him, and then kind of that's how it kind of got to here.
All right. Now, from what I understand from our sources, you were kind of a colorful pitcher on the mound at St. Mary's. That so much so that when you would pitch and the opposing team would hit, you would congratulate your teammates before they would even make the play.
A little bit, yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I just had a lot of confidence in the players behind me that kind of any ball that was hit, regardless if it was good or bad, that somebody would make the play, and kind of had a tendency to just congratulate them, run off the field before it was kind of over.
Very good. Tell us a little bit, since you've seen kind of both sides, differences between Division II and Division III baseball.
Yep. I would say once you get into the season, big difference is the 4-game sets compared to only having 2 games. You're able to now pick up a lot of tendencies of the other team, which is something that has been beneficial as the pitching coach, being able to get the hitters' tendencies, kind of see how we can pitch these guys and be more effective.
All right, so you are getting your master's degree at Winona State.
Yep.
So you kind of have an interesting look into, you've been the student athlete from the playing side. Does it change much being a student athlete on the coaching side?
I'd say a little bit. It's more so just kind of time management is more of it. You're now in the office during the day, having to go at class, depending 1 or 2 times a week. Just kind of setting aside the time to get your school stuff done while still being able to be effective as a coach as well.
All right, and tell us a little bit about what the difference is, or what your job is as a graduate assistant, as the pitching coach for Winona State.
Yep, so I mean, it's kind of basic as a coach. Come in the office, anywhere from 9 to 10, me and Coach Riley share the same office, so that's nice to have. And then depending on if we're in season, we'll go out to the field, kind of do the field work as the day progresses, then kind of prepare a practice plan as well, and then kind of execute practice, and then kind of do it again the next day.
All right, now as a former pitcher and as a pitching coach, I have to ask, I was asking Coach Polk and Coach Riley when he came in here, with the weather situation the way that it was this season, how difficult was it to manage your stable of pitchers and kind of get them on some sort of routine when there was no routine out in the field?
It's difficult because, I mean, you kind of show up each day that you might play this day, so now we got to throw a bullpen, and now you find out the next day that we're not going to play for another 2 days, and that kind of makes it a little bit tougher to have a set plan, but players have been really good about being very flexible with what we've had and still being able to be very productive on the mound.
All right, let's talk about the games that happened this week then. They were supposed to be played out in Marshall against Southwest State, but they had some snow, and the field here in Winona, Lowry Field, was clear enough to go play. Tell us kind of overall, I know it was split between the 2 days.
This was one weekend where the hitters had 4 great games, a lot of productive at-bats, a lot of balls that were hit hard. Pitching staff kind of did all right. Definitely not as well as we could have done. Had the chances to win 4 games. Ended up splitting, but being able to now bounce back against UMD will be big.
All right. Let's talk about your top pitchers then, Aaron Mutter and Austin Savory. Tell us a little bit about them and you know what they show to the opposing batters and how dominant they can be.
I mean, our 4 starters, they're all 4 guys that want to be on the mound every day. That they don't want to come out of the game where it's kind of talking between innings, that we go back and forth of, I don't want to take you out and you don't want to come out of the game, and that's kind of the mindset that we've been able to instill in these guys, and it's been kind of beneficial and shows that when you want the ball, you have a good opportunity to be successful.
Well, that has to be kind of a difficult situation for you then, because I know in past years, if the weather is cooperated, you need a big stable of pitchers because you play so many games in such a short amount of time. And for Aaron Mutter, in the first game against Southwest, he threw his 3rd complete game, and he is coming off an injury. So how do you balance like injuries and trying to make sure that everybody's arm stays fresh?
I mean, for his case, just the following day, well, he didn't pick up a baseball at all, and he didn't the day after that. So it's just kind of being able to monitor your arm, kind of what he needs. He knows what he needs to do in order to be ready for his next start, and that's the same with every guy in our staff.
All right, now we're taping the day before you would be playing on Wednesday, so kind of walk us through what you do from now until game day and you hand the pitcher the ball.
So for our starting pitchers, they'll throw bullpen today, just kind of light, just to get a feel again after not being on a mound for a few days. You'll go through your kind of basic. We'll go through our defensive routine that we do every day, and just kind of set yourself up to be successful.
All right, and what are some of the things then that you want to see from your pitching staff on Wednesday?
Just throw strikes. That's the one thing we preach. Just throw strikes, get ahead of hitters, make quality pitches, and make that other team beat you rather than you kind of handing them the game.
All right, now we talk a lot about the starting pitchers, but we don't get into the bullpen very much. What do you have in your bullpen this year?
Right now we've been kind of right between Nick Harold, Jake Watska, Parker Holmstrom have been kind of our 3 guys that have been in that kind of closer role, and have all had glimpses of success, and now it's just kind of being able to have kind of consistent results. We have confidence in all three of those guys that they can get big outs for us this inning, so now it's just kind of translating into the end of the season and get a lot of big wins.
Now, you talked about Jake Watska, and he had some success early on in the season. A couple of games lately he's been roughed up a little bit, so how do you build up his confidence to make sure he's out there?
Just more so just kind of talking with him, saying, hey, we still have confidence in you. You still have the stuff to get guys out, and you've shown it even with kind of the blown saves that he's had. He gets guys out right away. Maybe gets a little complacent, and then kind of when things go bad, they've kind of continue to go poorly. But it'll change. He'll be right back, and we still have confidence in him. And
this year, you guys have tended to play better at home than you have on the road. Yeah. Can you tell us maybe why some of the reasons you play better at Lower?
I think just the guys are comfortable. Having to not sit on a bus for 3-4 hours, wherever it may be. You get to sleep in your own bed the night before, and it helps kind of a lot of the players' families come to the game. You see familiar faces in the crowd. Kind of get that comfortable feel, want to play better.
All right, well, we are going to take a break here on Warriors Walk-Off. When we come back, we'll get the player perspective as Derek Martin joins us right after this.
Paying your HBC bill has never been so easy. HBC's new online bill and pay system, SmartHub, allows you to receive electronic bills and make online check or credit card payments with ease. HBC SmartHub can be accessed on the computer or through your mobile devices with the app. Manage your payments, communicate with HBC customer care, and receive messages about your account with a touch of a button. HBC SmartHub. Start today at hbci.com/SmartHub.
With our partnership with HBC, we were able to now be a smart gigabit community with US Ignite and the National Science Foundation. All their other partners are large metropolitan urban areas, Austin, Texas, San Francisco, Washington, D.C. And because of the broadband connectivity provided by HBC, we are a community lead for this initiative where we're going to be able to bring next-gen technology and stay competitive in the 21st century economy.
Providing opportunities for residential and business customers, HBC is leadership in your community.
And welcome back to Warriors Walk-Off here on TV 25. Derek Martin now joins us, sophomore at Winona State. Let's find out a little bit about you. You're from Waconia. Tell us a little bit about your high school career. I know you played football and baseball. Maybe some of the highlights from your high school career.
Some of the highlights are some of the players I played with. Jake Stevenson, he plays for the Gophers. Rock Whitaker, he plays on Concordia St. Paul. And then, of course, Dylan plays with us. Just had a lot of good talent around me. Just helped build my confidence, know what I need to do to stay on the field. And as football, I was the captain of the team, and that helped me build my leadership. And now I try to take that here at Winona.
All right, now Waconia has kind of been a baseball power as of late. I kind of hate to bring this up, but the year after you graduate, they go and win the state tournament, undefeated team. Did you follow them at all during that season? And were you there to kind of cheer them on a little bit?
I did. I went to 2 or 3, I believe, of the playoff games, and then I did make it to the state championship game where they won pretty handily. Yeah, they got a bunch of good guys. They have, I think, 5 or 6 guys playing D2. They had great guys, and they knew how to execute and get wins.
All right, so how did you find out about Winona State, and how did you make the decision to come here?
I actually found out between my summer ball team. I played for the Waconia Lakers. It's our town ball team. I have 3 or 4 guys actually played here. Ronnie Olson, Ben Smothers, Evan Burr. Those guys actually reached out to Riley and Polk for me, and then Riley sent me a text and came and watched the game, and before I knew it, I was here.
All right, and you mentioned Dylan Whitaker, so did you reach out to him
to
bring him here?
I did. This last summer, I was just kind of egging him to come here, and it's always fun to play with a buddy from back home, and sure enough, he's one of our top guys pitching. So.
All right, now when you were in high school, you played shortstop and pitcher. You're not pitching for Winona State, kind of focusing on the shortstop. So what was that decision like to kind of give up pitching, and is that something that maybe you'd like to get back again?
It wasn't too hard for me. I was always more of I like defense better anyway, but yeah, I wouldn't mind getting it in again, maybe senior inning, but yeah, I didn't mind it.
All right, now obviously you kind of hear that, and we didn't want to put any pressure on you for that, but I mean, how much contact do you have with the position players being the pitching coach?
Yeah, I mean, I'll kind of run a lot of the defensive stuff when we do team defense, where I'll have, me and Coach Riley and Gunnar Peterson will have kind of the whole control of kind of what we do for a day-to-day defensive kind of work. So that's kind of helps with all of us being on the same page, rather than just the pitchers being on one little set, and then compared to the middle infielders, everybody's now working together, get more comfortable in the game.
All right, last question. Last year you saw a lot of action in your freshman season, and this year you've done a little bit better. You're hitting around 300 or over 300 this year. What's the difference between your sophomore and freshman seasons?
I think I changed my approach a lot. Last year I was trying to do too much. I'd go into the box and just try to swing for the fences, This year I've changed it up. I'm thinking more right center, right field, and it's been paying off for me.
All right, well, we wish you continued success the rest of the season.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
All right, thank you for joining us here on Warriors Walk Off. We'll see you next time here on TV 25.